Hi, this is Bernard Rose. This is Trailers from Hell. And today I want to talk about Dark Crystal, which was actually not only Jim Henson's masterpiece, but the first film that I ever worked on.
From creator Jim Henson, co-director Frank Oz, and Gary Kurtz, the producer of Star Wars, comes a unique world. A wondrous civilization and a totally new concept in fantasy adventure.
You know, everybody once in their career has the ability to do whatever the hell they want, and this was Jim's moment, where he'd done the Muppet Show, which was a huge hit. He'd done the Muppet movie, which was a huge hit. He promised them another Muppet movie, I think the Muppet Caper, and then he was like, and if I do all this work, you let me make Dark Crystal for as much money as I want to spend. And he did. And he really went to extremes. He was really, in a very profound way, reinventing what was possible with animatronics at that period. And everything was custom made, from the screw mechanisms in the eyeballs and the blink mechanism. Everything was made from scratch and made from like little bits of Meccano and hand tooled and hand designed. It was the kind of expenditure on something that was ultimately a completely non-commercial project, a fantasy film with no human beings in it, no jokes or very few jokes, and no musical numbers. I mean, none of the things that have made Jim so rich and successful none of these things were in Dark Crystal. It was this, at the time, rather kind of obscure, kind of sword and sorcery quest, Lord of the Rings style story. The film itself, I think, because of it's done in a way that would never ever be done, it was never done before, and certainly could never be done again. I mean, I remember when the film was originally made, and this seems extraordinary, but it's absolutely true, it wasn't in English. All the creatures spoke fake archaic languages, but you know, this was a children's film, and it was going to be subtitled. Of course, it was never released that way. It was eventually dubbed into English. But I don't think it really lost any power. And for me, the film is way under 2 hours. And it has all the power, all the content of Lord of the Rings. And it gets through it without having to throw some boring bit of jewelry away. When you look at the movie now, obviously nobody will ever make a film like that again, because it would all just be CGI. They would never make it all in this totally handcrafted way where every single tree and every piece of leaf and everything was made in the workshop. Everything was fabricated full size, but also there was the limitations of the puppets that Jim was really pushing against with the Skeksis and the Mystics and these things. These things had fiberglass armatures inside them and then foam exteriors, and so they were actually kind of rigid. And one of the things I personally hate about CGI animation is it always tries too hard. Everything's moving, you know. I know that Jim was pressured enormously at the time to use real children in the leads, the two elves. And he said, no, there will be no human beings in this film. And one of the things that's so beautiful in Dark Crystal is it's almost like a no play, in that the creatures are often completely static and they're completely still, and so they have a kind of strange poetry to them. And it has a lot of really unusual and really kind of inventive things in it. It's a unique film. There are so few of them in the world. I think it's Jim Henson's masterpiece. And it was my first ever experience of working on a professional movie, and I couldn't imagine a better one.